Good evening. Welcome to the Shaftsbury Select Board meeting of Monday, April 21st, 2025 at 6 p.m. in Cole Hall. I'm Naomi Miller, the chair of the Shaftsbury Select Board. Does anybody have a conflict of interest with anything on the agenda?
Nope.
Zoe?
No. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay. Minutes. We have two sets of minutes to review. Can I have a motion to approve the April 7th, 2025 minutes? Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Mike, for the second. Anybody have anything to amend on these minutes?
None for me.
Did everybody go, do you want a minute to read them?
I perused them earlier here.
Okay.
These are the paperwork all scrambled up here. These are March.
Yeah, we have the 7th and we have the 17th.
Okay. Gotcha.
No? All's good?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor of approving these minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And the March 17th minutes.
Moved.
Thank you, Mike. Second? Thank you, Tony. Any amendments to these minutes?
No.
No. It was a long meeting. This one was a long one. Yeah, okay. All in favor of approving these minutes, say aye.
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 Great. Thank you. Announcements.
I have several, not several, but a few.
You have some, go for it.
The first thing is, I'd like to announce that we have reported all of our ARPA funds. Everything is expended with the state. It's all done and dusted. And yay, that's a good thing.
Yes, that's great.
That is
Yes.
great.
Yes. A reminder that Green Up Day is Saturday, May 3rd, and we already have the green bags at Cole Hall. The dumpster has been ordered. There's a beautiful new sign at Howard Park. Drive by if you haven't had the chance to. And we want to once again thank Peckham for donating it. Thank the Recreation Committee for designing it and hand painting it and working with Peckham to design it and picking stone that will not be stolen.
Yeah.
And the DPW for putting it in. A lot of work
Yeah.
went into this. So I think it looks cute, and the landscape around it and flowers.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. And we'll be working on the LEMP again. That's the local emergency management plan. I have a meeting tomorrow with Paul Dansereau to just finalize it to give to the state. And we have, I think we have one appendix that we added, like what to do in an ice storm. So he'll be presenting that during the next select board meeting. And we had the walkthrough for the new building on Friday. One outfit showed up, and we also, according to the purchasing policy, need to solicit bids as well. So we are in the process of doing that and going forward. You know anyone who wants to bid on this, let us know, contact me, and we have to actively solicit bids as well, because we only have, well, one who might bid. Yeah. That's it.
And I wanted to let you folks know that I'll be, you're invited to join me, meeting on Wednesday at 3 at the new building with Concrete Impressions from Bennington about possibility of putting in a concrete floor. Anybody's welcome to join me, 3 o'clock.
We're looking at options.
Just looking at options for that 4,400 square foot floor. Any other announcements?
None?
Want to announce your Sundays?
Yeah, the fourth Sunday for veterans, we're coming back and starting again on the 27th. So if somebody wants to join us, we'll be at Village Cemetery starting at 9 a.m. And that's cleaning and fixing headstones of every veteran in Shaftsbury. And there's 77 stones in Village, and we are about halfway through Village Cemetery. So we want to finish up Village and then move on to Center, and we're going to be busy. When I'm done with those, we're going to go back and start everybody else. But I want to get our veterans done first for our 250th celebration. So join us.
Okay, you
Get a
want to say
free
the time again? Time and date again?
9 a.m. on Sunday. And we'll go till noon,
All right.
the fourth Sunday of every month.
Great, thank you. Any other? No?
Nope.
Okay. Warrants.
Have the warrant and
The warrant.
a separate warrant for the new backhoe. Payroll will be done tomorrow. There were just a few additions that came late.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. So, I have here check warrant report number 25026. For a total of $80,021.82. Thank you, Tony. Thanks, Mike. Okay, items over 1,000. A&K Agri-Services, 122480 and 3,399.24, both for gravel, right? At Hoosick, 1,019.59. AT Hoosick.
The fire department fuel pump parts.
Okay, and the second one to them for 1,019.59?
Truck maintenance.
Truck maintenance, okay. One to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Vermont for 14,403. And that's for the May coverage. One to Casella for 8,994.92.
Trash pickup from the transfer center.
Yep.
Station, sorry.
Our regular expensive,
Yes, all the way.
yeah, haul away. The Dufresne Group for 8,250.
That is the sewer feasibility study, 60% report.
Great. Right. Randomly National Business Technologies for $275.22.
That is that big printer over there, and its monthly fee.
Wow.
Victoria.
Is that her name?
Yes.
Well, she's a good girl. Okay. Nemrick for $7,750. The Northeast Municipal LLC, $1,004.
Just jump down, I'll lose my place. That's a pavement patch for the DPW.
U.S. Bank, $12,827.50.
That is the, what did I write? It's the garage bond payment. Garage bond payment.
Garage bond payment.
Yes.
Great. And Wallingford crushed stone for crushed stone, $7,908.
DPW.
And last but not least, $2,000 to Zwack Inc.
Oh, that's on the other one. Hold on. It was a late one. Machinery and equipment, DPW.
Okay.
I don't have anything more specific than that.
Zwack is one of the providers that he told us about for the truck
Yeah.
body.
I have the invoice.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably the last one.
Whatever they call it, the body bed, whatever, the thing that is all rusted and we
York rake.
got a new one.
Fisher Hitch, gravel rake for gravel road repairs.
Okay. But that's the dealer he uses for all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Okay. Got it. I was like, I just heard that name recently.
Any discussion?
No.
No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. This is, the second one is,
Oh, I'm sorry. During the last, I think it was the last select board meeting, when Mike spoke about purchasing the Caterpillar backhoe, the paperwork came in today, and I filled it all out, and we need Tiffany had already closed out the warrant, so we made a
so
separate one
this is a
for that.
separate one for this.
Back out. Yeah.
Okay, so this is PRCH2 for $33,323. Can I have a motion? Thanks, Tony and Mike. So this is to Caterpillar Financial Services Corporation on the Caterpillar backhoe loader we discussed at our last meeting. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Public comments. Oh, nope. Okay. Treasurer's report, Melanie. First.
Can we take a look at the cash flow? I have very little to say today, but we can just look at what's coming in and going out. Let's see, most of this we've already discussed. I think we already talked about the delinquent taxes. That's a nice chunk. The only thing here that I wanted to point out is the second one from the bottom. You'll see Comcast refund. I never thought I would see the day.
Yeah.
But our resident pit bull actually got Comcast to cough up some
Go,
money.
Jen.
They have been overcharging us for years. And anyway, yeah, that's, buy Jen a cup of coffee when you run into her. She really earned that.
That's a small portion of.
And there's more coming, yeah. I will call that out when it comes into. Look down at the bottom. That's our cash balance as of, pretty close as of today, except for some outstanding checks. We're probably in pretty good shape, but that's the number I'm going to, as I say at every one of these meetings, keep a close eye on. We've got another 2 months to go. We're probably fine. Just don't, no tornadoes or anything.
One place, on one storm.
I don't project it to the budget in the middle of the month, so I don't have anything more to say about that, unless you have any questions about that. Okay, then we can take a quick look at the reserve funds. Very little going on except for a tiny bit of water, less than $2,000. Those are just late water payments that are coming in. I am working, I'll just talk while Jen's pulling it up. I'm working on getting all the files cleaned up for the addresses for all of the water, so that when the water bills go out, they're updated with the current, or what will be the new grand list when it's frozen. I guess probably it is frozen by now. so that when the bills go out, they'll be more accurate. There have been some errors in the addresses going back years, so I'm trying to compare it to the new grand list so that I've got really updated addresses, mailing addresses. If you were looking at the reserve funds, the bottom line there is $850,000 across all of them. The only two things I would point out, if you could see it, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't really matter. There's a couple $1,000s in water, as I said. The only other thing of note there that I would show you is that the 900 fund, that fund that for a while was called ARPA, now is $0.00. Oh, there we go.
I'm so sorry.
No, there we go. Yeah.
Cooperating.
So can we just look at the bottom half?
Sure.
You can see that the 900 fund is down to zero. So I think that I mean, it was really just a tiny amount left, but my hat is off to the town of Shaftsbury that we managed to spend that money. My understanding is that in a lot of states and a lot of towns, the feds are trying to claw a lot of that back. So we were able to spend it in a very productive way, and I would not feel good to be having to give back money that you wanted to spend but just didn't spend fast enough. That would be really depressing. So any questions about any of that? As you can see, those are the only two transactions that happened so far this month. Anything? Okay, that's all I got. Any questions about anything else?
No.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And now we have a candidate for the open seat on the Planning Commission, Priscilla Sachs, who's come for an interview. Why don't you come on up and take a seat?
Hello.
Hi. So you can't see all the names. This is Tony Kowski, Zoe,
Hi, Zoe.
and Mike.
Mike. Hi.
That's Paula,
Hi, Paula.
Jen,
Jen. Hi.
and I'm Naomi.
Yes.
Yes. Welcome. So, could you just start by telling us a little bit about what interests you in the Planning Commission, or what you think you could bring to that?
So I did spend a fair amount of time this afternoon looking at notes and things like that. So let me start by saying that I'm new to being involved in any sort of town government. That said, what struck me when I was reading through minutes and actually sat and watched one of the meetings is that it seems to be very legalese, a lot of knowledge of law and kind of coordinating state, county, and local law. And I have a really large background in the insurance industry where that's what I did. I read contracts, I read legal documents, and I had to understand law. So that's what I could bring. I'm detail-oriented in that respect, and I think of myself as somebody who can dig in and figure out what needs to be done and add my 2 cents. I don't know what else you want to hear from me. Perhaps you have questions for me.
No, I guess, what are your thoughts on population density in our immediate area, actually?
Well, there is a very dense population here. I did read that there's some activity concerning affordable housing. Like, I'm really, really interested in that because I just think we're getting to a point where whether it's local or statewide or nationwide, where we really have to consider the fact that our homeless population is increasing, and it's increasing because they don't really have a way to afford living in too many places anymore. The cost of living is quite high. So I think that's quite a task. I don't know how it would be achieved, but I think it's one worth undertaking.
Yeah, well, one thing, we just had a sewer committee meeting on the 8th, actually, according to my notes here, so seems like it was more recent than that, but so the town owns a property directly behind us here, and we were thinking of tasking the planning commission with, just taking a look at that. We have a sewer design for that property now, and tasking the planning commission with coming up with just a proposal, not a proposal, but just letting us know what are the possibilities back there. Take a look at the current zoning situation and let us know what is, frankly, the maximum number of units that we could get back there, and would it make sense to change that if necessary, because it's kind of a generational opportunity to build some housing in our local, but literally immediate area. It's this property, the lot right behind us. So that's one thing that you might be faced with soon.
The thing that's holding us back is septic. In the immediate downtown Shaftsbury. It's been the big problem for a long time.
I did read that in some of the minutes and noted that there was a lot of discussion about the cost of restructuring that, reconfiguring it, doing it. And so I know that's a heavy undertaking. It's a heavy undertaking if it's your own backyard. I've had to do it. So,
Do you live here in town?
I live over on Cider Mill Road.
Okay.
Yes, so not too far away.
Great.
Yes.
I was on the planning commission before I just joined this board, I guess, like a month ago. But yeah, they finished the enhanced energy plan, so that's wrapped up. I'm sure you saw in the minutes. I think they're going through the subdivision bylaws right now. And I would imagine that going forward, in addition to talking about the potential zoning or rezoning or whatever of that, an eventual sale, because that would be kind of like workforce housing is what it looks like. So as opposed to a lot of people, the phrase workforce housing seems to be a really positive phrase, right? Which is like young working families or retirees or what have you. I don't really know. But that seems to be a phrase that people really like, and I think it's applicable. And then the other thing that probably will, I just am anticipating that at some point, maybe they'll start looking into like what short-term rental really means here.
Okay.
And this sort of thing, and whether or not there are some towns in Vermont that have done some stuff about like how Airbnbs work or like what the rules are, and therefore trying to turn these properties into long-term rentals for families who live in Vermont, as opposed to, so I bet that's like a natural direction of that commission. And then I think, a committee, I think that it would be, your ability to read at that level would be a great benefit to that group, because that definitely is a big part of it, is not getting intimidated by the language, because really anyone can understand the language, and that, but a lot of people think they can't, and that's the first barrier right there, and you're already way past that. So I'm sure
words themselves can be complex.
Of course, certainly so. And the ability to read them, understand them, and then simplify them in order to explain them to somebody who says, why are we talking about Act 250 in this way, and how does this apply here? And you're like, oh, it's like this, and they say, oh, I understand now, it's not foreign to me at all. And you're like, no, it's for everybody. And it seems like you would be able to bridge that gap. So that's, to me, seems good. So.
Well, I'd certainly give it a shot. I'm pretty good at getting through the legalese because I've had to.
Yep.
A lot of experience.
A lot of experience.
Yeah, contracts aren't real fun to read, but
no,
you got to read them.
No.
That was a big learning curve for me on the planning commission, was reading the zoning bylaws.
And we're doing some work on this. That's part of what we were doing with the subdivision regulations, is trying to make them understandable so that if somebody came in looking for a permit, they could actually look at a list and say, oh, yes, as opposed to saying, what does this possibly mean? So we are trying to make the language more accessible while still, enforceable and clear.
Okay.
And I think that work's just about done. But I think that there will be more of that to be done across the board.
Okay.
Because it would be great if it was more accessible to everybody.
Thank you for that clarification.
Do you have any questions for us?
I
Haven't
took a
already
whole
been
lot of
answered.
notes, and I brought them with me, but I'm not sure I have any real questions for you.
Do you
I
have an
think-
agenda that you think that there's room for improvement in what areas or?
I have so many ideas.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they're appropriate for the planning commission. I guess in my mind's eye, I think of getting there, figuring out what your direction is, and then finding my spot within getting your objectives met, rather than coming in with my paltry little objectives and trying to, I don't know, force anything that might go that way. I'm really here for you. That's how I kind of see me, figuring out what it is you need, and then figuring out where I could fit in meeting those needs. I don't know if that answers your question, but
That's good. Thank you. Any questions?
Did you have a question?
no, I was going to take a quick look at my notes because I have 3 pages of them. I did. Well, there were a lot of things when I was reading that really caught my attention and my interest. This whole idea of social development of historic preservation, protection of natural resources, all of that. The rest is really, for me, I would have to educate myself and become familiar with the current laws that are in place, whether they're local, county, or state, and kind of figure out how they kind of blend into one another and understand that a whole lot better. Like I said, I'm new to all of this, so
And relatively speaking, you're new to Vermont, right?
I am. So the whole idea of how you do your politics here is very intriguing to me. I really like it. And yes, I'm formerly from New York for many years. Very different environment.
Yes, indeed. And the relation between the state and the town is very different. And
Yes.
there is a county in the middle,
Yes.
which is not true here. Shockingly different.
Well, I like the fact that it's more interactive here, and it really comes from the grassroots. And so I get a sense of the community, if they want to be engaged, having more of a voice and a force in setting that direction. I didn't really see that in New York. You had to kind of figure where you fit in. So, anyway. Yeah. That's it. I don't really think I have any other questions. I'm not sure I really came with a whole lot.
It's okay.
Yes.
Just offering you the opportunity.
Yes, yes. But I would like to know, for instance, more about the plan that you have for housing back here, and what your thoughts are on the septic, how that could be resolved, but...
I could just describe that really quick. We had a grant from the state for, I think, $124,000 to do a study back there.
Okay.
So we do have in hand an almost complete septic design, essentially, for that
Okay.
property. So we would hope to engage with, a group like Cornerstone. It's a local group that builds workforce housing or affordable housing, anyway, we're hoping to, present them with something, or present a developer with something interesting, and that it's a flat level property with a septic design.
Okay.
And then because it's, very little has changed in downtown Shaftsbury in decades. So this is just a rare opportunity to increase housing density right across the street from our elementary school.
Yes.
And so we just need the Planning Commission to look through the bylaws and say, it's 0.86 of an acre, so it's less than an acre. but we own also the acreage is escaping me at the moment. We own the lot next to it as well, which is where the septic field would be. And so we'd like the planning commission to let us know how many units we could get on that property. Because if
Okay.
the answer is 4, it's small. It's more than 0, but it's, we'd like to make a difference. So,
Okay.
so we'd like to see how many we can get back there. And if it means increasing or moving a lot line slightly, if they say, hey, we can do this if we have, 1.1 acres, but we can't do it on 0.86.
Right.
Would we move the line? Would it be possible to, tweak the zoning a little to get more density in that spot without running the risk of what they call spot zoning? And, people don't like spot zoning, but maybe there are cases where it makes sense in one particular spot. So anyway, I don't know. That's what you'd be looking at
Okay.
hopefully soon.
Okay.
And also there's the whole Act 181 issue, which is a sort of revamp of Act 250 that, that has regulated development and the modulated between the needs for development and the
Okay.
need for preserving
Okay.
forest blocks, etc.
Yes.
And it has been reworked dramatically in order to facilitate exactly this kind of thing.
Okay.
So within the parameters of that and working with the Bennington County Regional Commission,
Right.
the Planning Commission could be making proposals for rezoning within that new model.
Okay. So Act 181 and 250 are things I need to take a closer look at. Okay.
I think the whole Planning Commission needs to make their way together
Okay.
through that.
Okay.
It's not like you need to catch up.
Okay.
It's very new.
Yes.
And it's very large.
The 250 is very old.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And very much how it has always been done. So this is a big change. Or not
From the
always, but
1970s.
yeah, when it became, more of a concern as the population density increased.
And the idea, in a nutshell, one of the ideas is to, allow increased density in our little built-up downtown areas rather than
Right.
having it sprawl out up
Right.
there where you are on Sutton Hill
Right.
Road or something like that. So
Okay.
Act 250 was really a blanket kind of situation, and so they're trying to kind of carve out, one of the things it tries to do is kind of carve out our little town centers for more density, basically.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Need to be educated. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess,
Make a motion to accept Priscilla's facts on the planning commission.
thank you very much, Tony. Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Mike, any more discussion?
No.
No. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
luck.
Thank you very
I
much.
was so nervous because I had a bummer of a day. So this is the highlight. Yay.
May the day get better.
Yes, I had a real rough beginning, but okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. I do some other volunteer work and the computer stuff.
The webmaster will contact you with your new security email account.
Yes, she is the webmaster, amongst other things.
The planning commission works on paper.
Oh, good.
Just so you know. Big
And you
stacks
will
of
hear
it.
from Carlin Mickle, who is the zoning administrator.
Okay.
Who is the, I don't know, the person for the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Carla
Yeah,
Nichol.
she will be in touch with you pronto
Okay.
and start orienting.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
It was nice
Thank
to
you
meet
very
everybody.
much.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Number 9, the SFD request. I imagine that's why you're here.
I hope so.
We're talking with Paula, and the fire department and fire company is coming to you with a proposal to buy a battery-operated spreader, which years ago used to be called Jaws of Life, but it's an old term. This would match up with the cutters, battery operated cutters that we bought in previous years, and a combi tool, which is a cutter and a spreader. This would not replace, but would be part of our extrication tools that we use at car accidents and various other operations. Originally, what we came out with 25, 30 years ago was hydraulic tools, but then you had hoses, you had an engine that could fail. And it was very cumbersome, and it also took a lot of manpower. These battery-operated tools, it takes one person. And given the volunteerism in our fire service, it really is beneficial to us. And as you know, we spent quite a bit of money this past year on repairs of the fire trucks, about $11,000, which is way above what was budgeted for. So we came to the conclusion that we might not be able to get the spreaders. But in talking to Paula about 2 weeks ago, the 7th, yeah, April 7th, we saw that we had about $20,000 in the overall budget. We still have 3 months to go, but we're doing okay. So my proposal is if the town would accept, the total cost of the spreaders is $18,189. If the town would pay $10,000, the fire company would donate the other $8,189 for money that we've raised through our coin drops and donations and whatnot. With I still being under budget come July. I do not want to go over budget, but I also don't want to put this off another year because things happen, and I discovered we got to start replacing hose last week, and so I don't want to pile everything onto 1 year. So if the select board, would accept our proposal, we would, pay a fair portion of the spreaders, and it would be a real asset to the town as a whole. Vehicle accidents are our main source of calls now, between 25 and 30 easily. And if we have winters like we used to, it could be much more. So this is a tool that gets used often, and not just car accidents. There's other ventilation operations and things of that nature. This is what it looks like. And it would complement and be part of the tools that we already have, of the same company, the same generation of tools. And that's my proposal.
Questions, thoughts?
I guess where would our 10,000 come from? We have
Joe has the numbers there.
Yeah, we're about 21 under budget right now. So overall budget. Our equipment fund right now has 22,000 more or less, 18,000 in there. So the equipment fund can handle it because there's no other equipment that we plan on buying between now and July. But like I said, we're also fighting the repairs of those fire trucks and what that cost us this last year, which is horrible.
I got you. So the 10,000 would come out of your existing budget, and the 8,000 would come out of
Our budget, our fund.
your own fund.
Yeah, the money that we had raised.
So you'd still have 11,000 in the budget.
Yeah, and again, that would go also to help keep us under our overall request last year. And see, the fire department, I don't know why they did this, but it's been since like 1932. Our year runs from April to May. It doesn't run with your fiscal year, and it doesn't run from January 1st to January 1st, which I don't understand, but I wasn't around back then, so I didn't have any say, but close, but not quite. So that's my proposal. And,
Sure. Make a motion that we accept this proposal for this life-saving tool.
Okay, any further discussion? No questions?
Can I ask a couple general questions?
Sure.
How many people are in the fire company?
Currently about 17.
17.
Not counting our juniors, which there's 3 of those.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And then how does recruitment work for you all? Like, what's the process look like?
We just ask for help. I kind of ask every year in my raffle letter that goes town-wide.
Yep, I get it. The letter.
Word of mouth. One of the main issues is the time that you have to put into it.
Yeah, my boss is on the Dorset, and he leaves work all the time.
Yeah. And,
So I know about it. The little thing goes off, and he's like, "Bye, guys."
yeah, and it's also the training. There's a lot of training.
Yeah, he's doing
involved.
firefighter 1 right now, and
Yeah.
that is a lot of hours.
It's a lot of hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he doesn't have time for it, but he's
Yeah,
making it.
most people don't.
Okay, and then is there an appointment process? How does it work if someone were to volunteer? What's the process? I'm just asking because I'm new to the board, so I'm kind of curious how you guys work.
So we ask anyone that's interested to first come to the firehouse.
Yep.
Come to a meeting, a couple drills, find out what we're about, like an orientation. And then we vote, and the person is then asked.
Why is there a vote if it's a volunteer service?
There's a vote because even though it's volunteer, there's a vetting process.
If they're qualified firemen, there's a vetting process?
Well, if they're not a fireman yet until they're voted on, they're an applicant. And they're not a firefighter.
No, I mean, if they've been a previous fireman, there's still a vetting process?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like we ask people to come to a meeting, to drills, for them to find out about us, but also to find out about them.
Right, no, I meant if somebody with years of experience came in, they can't just volunteer to be a fireman, then it's not really a volunteer fire. I'm just curious.
Well, what if in the vetting process you found out they lost their last job for starting fires or something like that?
Well, that's different. That's a criminal record. A background check should be done on any volunteer.
Well, but there's also, he does make kind of a point, and what he's saying is, there's been situations within our department and within other departments where someone has misrepresented themselves, and then you kind of look into their background and you find out, okay, that's why they're not in this department anymore, but they want to come into our department. Maybe that's not a good fit for Shaftsbury. Or maybe they did something within our department that when they left, we said, okay, it's best to move on. And we have, with certain people, moved on from things that had occurred, and without getting into detail here. But it just makes it a lot easier for everybody concerned if we do give a chance to talk to that person, to get to know that person, or be reacquainted with them.
Okay.
We just voted somebody for a volunteer position on the planning commission.
Well, that was an interview for a position that this is different. This is a volunteer for something that person's done before. I was just curious. They still have to be vetted and go through the same process. Somebody's like me. If I wanted to volunteer to be a fireman, obviously I need to be vetted. I've never fought a fire. Right. But if somebody who's been a volunteer firefighter for years, they still have to go through the same process. That was my question.
Yeah, I guess so, and I guess that protects too from personality issues. Sometimes you end up with very qualified people who are absolutely insane, and you would not want them to be,
To have your back.
Yeah, so it would be a safety issue. Yeah.
You have to look into why they left the department in the first place. It wasn't just because, I don't feel like it, or there was a reason why they left the department.
Yeah, if it was like an actionable thing. Okay,
Right.
great.
Right.
Well,
And
that makes sense.
Thanks for the explanation.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for telling me a little bit about the
sure.
Yeah.
And please, if you guys just want to see us, in action in what we do, we're there every Thursday night, whether it's a meeting or a drill, just to get to meet people or what
I live
have you.
incredibly close to 3 houses down.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, so. All right.
It's the other one.
The other one, I want to, not this one.
Oh, not
the
this
other
one.
Oh,
Yeah,
you live in North Station. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
That's the outpost.
it's
Yeah,
the outpost.
yeah.
That's just where the extra
You're
trucks
getting a new
live.
fire truck next year, so.
Ooh,
you should-
exciting for me. Well, I have a pond, so exciting for you.
Oh, okay.
But, all right. Well, thank
The
you.
pond past the firehouse?
Yeah, like in the house that Angie Abatello lived in.
Ah,
Third house,
okay.
yeah.
Very good.
I've heard that's good to have on your own property.
Yeah.
For you and your neighbors. Anyway, but yeah, thank you so much. And then I think we have to
We
vote.
have to vote. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second.
Or moved, seconded.
Moved. No. Yes,
moved.
moved, seconded. Yeah. Thank you. Mike moved. Tony seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have one more real quick thing to do, and this is kind of important to me and for the department. I was hoping Mike and I would be here tonight, but he's not, so I'll catch up to him. But I thought it was important for everyone to see this. Seems like whenever we have an issue with a fire truck or something, or bad weather or slippery roads, we turn around, Mike's right there ready to give us a hand. And for someone that's been doing this for 50 years, that's not always been the case with the road crew. At one point, there was real animosity between the fire department and the road crew. And, whatever that was, it was. But Mike and I goes way above and beyond what he needs to do. It was about a month ago, one of our trucks broke down right in the middle of Route 7, and he was there really quick and helped us get the truck back to the firehouse that had to be towed, and worked on it the next day to get that truck back up and save this town a lot of money, because if we had to have it towed down to Albany and have one of their mechanics work on it, it would have been thousands and thousands of dollars. We've had fire trucks, on slippery roads where he's come out with the sand and salt, and him and the guys, and it's not just him, but he's their leader. And what we've done is made up this plaque, and it says, "Presented to Mike Iannati in recognition and appreciation for your many years of service to the Shaftsbury Fire Department." And I will track him down. It seems like the only time I can catch him is when we need him. So
Otherwise, he's helping someone else.
I'm going to track him down, and I'm going to give him this plaque, but I wanted
Well-deserved.
everyone here to see it and to know how much he's appreciated by us.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
Thank
We'll give him this video I just made.
you. Okay.
Appreciate it. Don't give him the plaque until the next issue comes up and see how he performs.
Well, we already bought it. Thank you.
Great, thank you
you
so
all.
much.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Southern Vermont Communications Union District appointments. Southern Vermont CUD requires reappointment. And Paul and I are proposing that we reappoint Tim Scoggins and Michael Corey as the first alternate.
So moved.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you. Do you want me to read it to you?
No.
Okay. So, all in favor of appointing these two?
Aye.
Aye, great. And we don't have to sign it. It goes to Marlene
Oh, okay.
with our,
Have her sign it tomorrow. Excellent.
and then speaking of reappointments, it's also time to reappoint our tree warden, David Mance III.
So moved.
Thank you, Tony.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
No.
He seems to be doing a fine job, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 500. Great. Okay. I wanted to report on the V-Trans meeting, because they came down here. And first they met with Gina, Paula, and Mike Yanati. And Mike explained to them all of the truck movement on that crazy corner, complete with numbers of trucks from here and there that come through each day, and the weight loads that they're bearing, etc. The numbers of trucks that are coming out of daily at different times of day and year. And Gina talked about the danger to children on the Buck Hill Road corner. And then I took them for a ride, a long ride. We rode around for an hour and a half, and I took them to all the hot spots that had been identified at the meeting, the big public meeting. And so I took them to the Chocolate Barn, Clearbrook corner, we sat for a long time at the Buck Stop. That was very
Illuminating.
for them.
Daytona 500.
Yeah.
What?
For the Daytona 500.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
I took them down to sit in the parking lot of, what's the food store?
Market Wagon?
The Market Wagon, thank you. We sat there for a while. It was empty because it was a Monday, but we just watched the traffic going by, and that was also quite illuminating. We went down to the place where you pass the turn on to Big 7 down at Exit 1, and how quick they really got to look at how quick that turn needs to be. And then we went on down to the train trestle, and they got to we sat for a long time and watched the cars zooming by each other in the train trestle and imagining what happens if that's a truck who missed the previous turn. We went up into Daily Precast to look at the big monstrosities that are loaded on and taken out. In the mornings, we went up to Death Valley. They were very interested in the problems at Death Valley and all the reasons for the accidents there, and they had different insights than people around here have. So, in the end, he stressed that he cannot make real recommendations to V-Trans about whether they close Route 7 or whether they detour. And he seems to think that's a pretty done deal. They're going to detour. But what he told me as they were leaving is that he will recommend increased and expanded signage beyond what they had already said they were going to do at all those hot spots. And he's going to look into recommending a temporary change to the speed limits at the Chocolate Barn, which had been requested in 2019 by petition and rejected.
To lower them.
To lower them to
It's like
40.
50, right?
It's 50, and it's the people coming down the hill.
Yeah, it's a
That's-
blind, yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to look into recommending a temporary change to those speed limits, as well as a temporary change to the Death Valley stretch. And then
That's like over there when you're driving on 7, you pass Old Depot, you pass whatever, and then you're in the valley, and it's like kind of banked, and then you go up and around. Where is Death Valley?
it's when you go down past Lake Shaftsbury, and it turns like that.
Oh, yeah. It's banked real weird.
It's banked very weird, and it turns abruptly and unexpectedly.
And they have
for
a place
people who
where
don't
you
live
can
there.
pass.
That's
which
what
is
they
really
pointed out.
interesting.
And it's too short
It's
by
really
V-Trans
short
regulations, apparently.
Oh, because it feels too short.
Yes. Yes. So
Okay.
he was just in, he was saying, oh, yeah, of course, I can see it. People try to pass because they
They
know
gun
this
it,
route,
and
and they
then-
gun it, and you've got a head-on collision. So
Interesting, thank you.
he's going to make recommendations for dealing also with the complexity on the corner of 67, 7A Daniels Road.
But like a light, like.
Well, they said they want to put in a light, but where they would put it in is
Very
difficult.
Yeah, odd.
Yeah.
Like Shaftsbury?
Yeah.
Do we have a light?
We have a blinking light right over
Lincoln
here.
Light.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
yeah, okay.
No stoplight.
I was like,
Lincoln,
I don't
blink,
think
and
we
the
do.
nod is right there.
Yeah.
Yes, nobody knows it's there, apparently. Okay.
Just a suggestion.
Yeah.
So we can still, write to them, and he had, no, actually, she had a question that I didn't have the answer to that maybe somebody does, which is, two questions. Are there special events at the elementary school during the summer that draw a lot of traffic?
Must be voting,
No.
Not in the summer.
no.
Okay. And what is the biking situation on 7A and East Road during the summer? I know I see
I see
people.
bikers on East Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see bikers on 7A, like fairly regularly. They turn off of Old Depot and they bike up 7A past the chocolate barn on that blind hill. And then they go up into trails and roads. But yeah, I would say I see a biker almost every day. And then there are people who are like, I think maybe commuting on like electric bikes. I see that too.
Oh,
like,
yes, there's a lot of that.
So there are some bikes, and also those people are not bikers, so they are in danger more so even. No helmet,
That's right.
yeah.
Jen? Like,
Yeah, I do an electric bike, but I pedal all the time.
Yeah, nice.
have you taken the bicycling training offered at the what's
Bike
that
hub?
called? The bike hub?
It's
great.
Bike.
You're like, I'm an
Safety
adult.
training, all these things to know.
Yeah, you put the little
Taking up
flashy thing
space.
on the back and you wear a helmet and you.
I even have
Yeah.
cameras.
And you get right out into the middle of the
Yeah.
road. That's the thing they say.
It is.
But yeah, there's a good amount of biking, so.
Okay. Well, anybody who has numbers about that,
Yeah.
who comes on numbers, should pass them on, and I'll
Should I
pass
just
them
start
on
counting?
to them. That would be a thing to do. Sure.
Be like,
Yeah, I could have a little journal in the car and, yeah.
And the last thing that came out of that meeting that I think is important for people to know is that they now have it on their, V-Trans now has it on its schedule for 28. Remember, first he said 27, but then when he checked
yeah,
the calendar on his phone, he said, oh, they've now bumped it to 28. So,
because the grant situation is unknown.
the grant situation is so unstable.
Yes.
Yeah, so probably we have plenty of time to massage this before it happens.
Okay.
And data is the thing we need. So Mike's data was really, really very helpful. Okay, ethics training. I think, Jen, you're going to talk about that, right? Good.
We're going to do one in-house for the people that don't want to come after hours, so we're going to do an extra one that's not on this list. But if people can get here during one of these dates, that'd be great. If you want to do it at home, Naomi has sent out the link to the select board and the DRB. You're looking at me straight.
No, I did, right?
Not.
So
You did.
You could do it anytime?
You can. You'll need to register
Right,
so the state can track you that you've done
right,
it.
but it's got to be done by,
We should do it real quick.
It has to be done before July 1st.
July 1st.
okay.
Yeah.
So the dates are April 25th at 1:30, May 12th at 6:30, and May 24th at 6:30. And the people who have to do this, in addition to the DRB, the Select Board, are
The PC, the town clerk.
everybody who works in this space.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
And what about the other town committees?
They should all do it, because we're asking them to uphold to this ethics, so we need to have them all do it, but they don't have to be tracked by the state.
Right. Okay, but the select board, everybody who works in
Can I see
this
the piece of-
building and, and the Development Review Board and Planning Commission actually will be tracked by the state. So need to,
We're wondering about the DPW and like,
I think they probably do.
I think so.
Of course. I mean, they provide a service to the public.
They don't have,
They don't have decision-making, well, that's committees, but, you know, Gina,
If you'd like to take a look, I don't know if they're.
Everyone else take a picture
Yeah.
of it here.
Mike
Mike
does.
does.
Mike has,
We'll look into
do we
that.
need to pre-register?
You need to register, and there's a test during it, Tony.
Okay.
Yeah.
we pre-register with you?
No, on the link on the state's website.
Unless we just show up here. on
Well,
one of
then
those
you'll do
days.
it, bring your laptop. If you want to do it at one of these dates, bring your laptop,
Okay.
and we can register you right there.
Okay,
And then you'll take your test on your laptop.
okay.
You can go through it. We'll watch the video on the big screen, and you can just take the test. And
And we can go,
Yeah.
that would be unethical.
Would it really?
Right, but we-
Are they going to test us on that?
yeah, there is a test
Yeah.
as you're
Yes.
doing it, but you'll
Of
have to
course.
answer the questions yourself,
Right.
obviously.
Jen will be watching to make sure that you
I know.
answer them
Proctor.
yourself. Okay.
Yes.
Reversed.
Okay, any other business?
I have a business.
Tell us.
There are many logistics and logistical, there are logistics to figure out with the new building. And one of them is the vault. And with this vault company, if you can believe it, because we couldn't believe it, all the vault companies that Marlene called, Ben called a few, only one of them has fireproofing, like a 6-hour burn. And I'm like, we're asking these questions to each other, like, why would you need a vault if you didn't want to keep it fireproof?
Right.
Like, what is, but we don't, just today I was like, there are things I don't need to know. I'm just going to move on from this. So, Firelock is who gave us the original quote, and they sent us paperwork again because there's a 100-day lead time. We need to get in the queue to get the vault in their queue to get it made because it's modular. So we need to buy it. So I'm asking for permission to go for it. Originally, it came in at 110. It went up a little bit to 114,480 due to tariffs, and they're trying to keep the price stable. So the sooner we do this, the better for production and also kind of lock that in.
Yeah, lock the rate.
And upon pulling the trigger, so to speak, we have to pay 50%. And then, let's see, it's 50% with the order, 25% at time of shipment, and 25 net within 30 days of final invoice. We don't have a contractor yet, that's still in the works, but I would think at the very least, if we got down to a crunch and the timing was a little bit off, we could at least gut out that part.
Yes.
Find someone to gut that part out and prepare it for the vault, because Ben went over one more time and measured it to the ceiling. So the measurements they have, they were able to give us a quote based on dimensions within an inch, which is, they were like, yep, let's, get this done. So
Okay. Do we want to review the funds we're going to take that from?
I think I made that go out of my memory, so I'll have to recall it.
Because as I
There were
remember,
3 pots.
we found 3 pots and it was
Yeah.
going to cover it entirely. One was,
The Hawkins Fund,
Right.
because we only have to leave 80,000 in there because that's principal. And Marlene's vault fund, and then, oh my God.
Well, between the
like a whole
Hawkins,
thing, and I
you know
can't
what?
remember the third
Between the Hawkins Fund and Marlene's fund, we have enough for the first 50%.
Well, the funny thing was with that third, and I can't remember what the third one was, but we went up to, we got 114,000 when we only needed 110, so now it's just 114,000. I'm going to remember it in 2:30.
But at least we have enough
It wasn't the
from-
Madison. No, because the
No, it
Madison is
wasn't
just for
another-
women.
Oh, I remember. It was the fund that was set up eons ago that no one remembers for the transfer station when
It's part of the
Casella
town
took it
agreement,
over,
the host town agreement with
and there were
Casella.
like $52,000 just
right.
sitting there.
Okay, so it's
twiddling its
Hawkins
thumbs.
Fund, host town
Host
agreement
town and
fund,
Marlene's Vault Fund.
and the town of
Reservation
Shaftesbury's
fund.
vault fund.
Yes. So none of it comes out of the
Great.
budget. Pull that right out.
Okay,
That's good.
Like, it's not one of those things.
Yes, that's great.
So
All right.
if you would like to look at that, pass that around, I can send you copies as well. But I think it's in the town's best interest to get it in the queue. Because we don't want to be like, oh, we're moving in, the vault's not here yet. That's like the first thing we kind of have to get
Yeah.
in there. And
So,
You did a motion?
yep,
think so?
yep.
yes, we do.
Motion that we accept the fire lock agreement.
Yep,
So we're good as green light?
414.
Did we
Are
accept
you-
and approve the Firelock Vault quote?
Quote.
Great.
And agree to purchase?
And agree to purchase with a 50% down due upon signing.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mike. Any further discussion before we pull the trigger on this?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Okay.
Fireproof.
Fire.
It's fireproof. Imagine that, a fireproof.
Why not just have a locked closet?
Right.
That-
It's okay, you should just let it
I
go.
am going to, because I don't care anymore. I don't want to be able to-
There are other things to worry about.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a review of action items.
Oh, they install it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they install
Okay,
it, but we
that's
have
what I
to
thought.
We just
create
have to
the...
prepare the
The
space.
fire-rated sheetrock
Right.
provided and installed on the interior surfaces
Right.
and exposed exterior sidewalls. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought they installed it, but then I saw that I got confused because we're talking about contractor. Anyway.
Yeah, and they're in
sounds good.
Pennsylvania. And this is the company who managed to come here that day and speak to us.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm
He happened to
sorry.
be up in Killington talking to
Didn't even
us
think
about
of
it. And she's like, I'll be in Vermont. It was just kismet
Wow.
that he happened to be here.
Great.
The contractors just prepping the area,
Yeah.
Yeah, with fire-rated
not that
sheetrock.
we're.
Yeah, building the space that'll house it, yeah.
Great. Okay.
Okay, great. Action items.
Ethics training.
Ethics training.
Ethics training.
Solicit more bids
Yep.
for the municipal offices construction project.
I guess that's actually it.
Yeah, we don't, I mean, we got a lot done, but we don't have a lot to, I mean, we have a lot to do without things.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Can I, what?
Do we need the executive session?
Yeah, we need a brief executive session, but we're not going to do anything,
After.
take any actions when we come out, so you guys are,
Welcome to, thank you.
okay, so can I have a motion to enter executive session? Moved by Mike, seconded by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right.